guys, thank you for tuning into this Love is Blind Germany review. You could be on any channel in the world, but you're right here with me, and I definitely appreciate that. So before we get into this review, make sure you go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel if you do like movie reviews and also TV reviews. Now, I just want to start off by saying Love is Blind Germany had me on like a roller coaster of emotions, y'all. I went from being happy for all of the contestants there to being disappointed to being really sad. And the reason I was sad, and I almost shed a tear, I literally almost shed a tear for this show, y'all, because self-sabotage is real. And some of these contestants really were working against themselves. And I'll get into that in a minute. But again, self-sabotage is a real thing, and we're probably all guilty of it too. But nonetheless, I do want to talk a little bit about the characters, especially the standout characters. I don't want to get into deep details about every characters, but just the most popular ones, okay? We have Shella, who is gorgeous. She is beautiful. She is very likable. She is charming. And most importantly, she just seems like she really wants to find love. She's 29 years old. I believe she's a model. And I think she's there for all the right reasons. But we'll get into her a little bit more later. We have Hanni. Hanni, who at first when I originally saw her and what she said something like, due to her blonde hair and blue eyes, she has like trouble dating because guys get distracted by her looks. You know, at first I'm like, girl, you is not even all of that, right? Honestly, that was my first reaction. But as the show progresses, like, oh my God, yes, Hanni is a baddie. Like when I say she's serving body like boom, bap, boom, bap, boom, boom, but however Kendrick Lamar said, that's how she's serving. So I get it, Hanni. You are everything you think you are, sweetie. The next character we have is Shila. Shila, I don't think we saw her to the second episode, but she's a 36-year-old real estate agent. It's quite a number of real estate agents on the show, actually, like 3 or 4 of them. But Shila, she's very determined. She was focused on her career for a long time, so she hasn't dated in a while. Beautiful lady as well. All of them are very, very beautiful, all of the women. Alberta, she's 25 years old. She's a student. I don't really think she was ready for love, though. I mean, she's one of the youngest contestants there, but I mean, age aside, I just don't really think she was ready for love. But now, those are the standout characters, in my opinion, of the ladies. Now we're going to move on to the men, okay? First and foremost, we're going to start with Daniel. He's 26 years old. Nice looking, nice, clean, bald head. Like, does he do like a skin routine on his bald head? But anyway, yeah, we have Daniel. We have Marcel, and Marcel was getting on my nerves. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Marcel was getting on my nerves. Marcel just seems at first, very intense. He seems very judgmental, and he comes across as holier than thou. You know, like he's better than everybody, and he seems like he would be very difficult to date. Then we have Toga. Toga's definitely an F-boy. He was getting on my nerves too. And he just thought he was all of that. And he was definitely just not ready for love. Like, I don't even know why he's there. He's so confused and dizzy and just, no. You ain't ready, Toga. You're not. And the last guy I want to talk about is Elias. Elias, he comes across as cute, innocent, but he's totally not, you know, but we get into that a little bit more. But I think, yeah, Elias is also a real estate agent too, but he seems innocent. All right, y'all, next let's go over episode 1, right? Episode 1, again, I don't want to get into deep details. This is a high level review with spoilers. But episode 1 actually ended in an engagement. Y'all, somebody really proposed after the first episode. So, again, things progressed really quickly. Hanni and Elias seemed to hit it off right away, right? They started dating. They are both real estate agents. They both make each other laugh. So I thought they were going to be like a serious connection. But they both were dating other people too, because you're allowed to do that, you know? So Elias started dating Alina. He started dating Alina. And Hanni, who I first thought her name was Hanni, but anyway, Hanni started dating Daniel. So Elias started getting serious with Alina. Hanni started getting serious with Daniel. And then Hanni ended up dumping Elias. Like, I don't want to date you anymore. So she wanted to focus her time on Daniel, which seems to pay off because Daniel was feeling her too. And Daniel actually at the end of that episode proposed to her. And Hanni, she ended up kicking Elias to the curb, which is a little bit sad, but it's all good. But Daniel and Hanni, let's dig into them a little bit. I think they seemed initially like a very good match. They're both very attractive. They seem to make each other laugh. And again, Hanni, she's very serious about her laughter. She wants to laugh. She wants to have fun, and I don't blame her. And Daniel, they just seem like a really good fit. They seem like they have a lot of chemistry together. So I was actually excited for them. All right, so that's the first episode. That's how we end off. We got an engagement already. All right, so now we're going to move right on to episode 2. So episode kicks off with the first in-person reveal. We have Hanni, she meets Daniel, and they seem to kick it off right away in person too. They seem to have chemistry. They seem to really like each other. They like the way each other looks. They like all of that, right? So they hit it off good. Meanwhile, all of the speed dating is still going on in the pods, right? So you have Ilias and Alina. They're still kicking it. They're getting very serious about each other now. And he seems to want to self-sabotage himself because he admitted that he cheated in the past. Like, Ilias thinks that Alina is too good to be true. So sometimes I think he is he's one of the people that definitely are self-sabotaging themselves, Mr. Ilias himself. And then we have a standout character in this episode to me too was Shella, because Shella was dating Fabio and she was dating Pasquale. So to me, I really was rooting for Shella and Fabio, but that didn't seem to work out. We're going to get to that in a minute. But nonetheless, she was dating both of them. Pascal told her he wasn't that serious at first. And, you know, I don't know if that turned her on or what. You know, she even admitted that she had a lot of issues with infidelity in the past. Not her being a cheater, but her partners actually cheating on her. So she admitted that. So that leads me to believe, again, that term self-sabotage, that maybe Shella is not in a position quite yet to choose her partners wisely. Like, maybe she's choosing the same guy over and over and over and over and over again. But nonetheless, this episode ends off with Ilias proposing to Alina, and Alina gladly accepts it. Also, what happens in episode 2 is Toga, Mr. F-boy himself, and the real estate broker, Shila. They hit it off. They're dating, but he's dating Hanna too. So it's like a love triangle between those three. He seems like he really likes both of them. Meanwhile, I don't think he really likes neither one of them. I don't even think he likes himself. So that's a really complicated love triangle that we're going to get more into in episode 3. All right, now we're going to dig into episode 3, which to me was one of the best episodes so far. It was a lot of beef. It was a lot of juice up at episode 3. So some of the highlights for me were Medina proposing to Sally, right? They were, you know, they thought they were kicking it in the past. The whole gift exchange with the Bible verse, you know, they were bonding. But when they met each other in person, it was so awkward. Yo, I was cringing and embarrassment. I was embarrassed for both of them. I was embarrassed for Sally. I was embarrassed for Medina. I didn't know what it was when they met that just allowed them to not have that connection. Like, they did not like the way each other looked. Specifically Sally, I don't think she liked the way Medina looked. But nonetheless, that was so super awkward. I felt so embarrassed for that encounter. Another highlight of this episode was Shila, Toga, and the Hanna triangle, right? Those three. I really appreciate how Shila stood her ground with Toga, because again, Toga, he is trying to play both of them. He's telling Hanna that Hannah's the best date ever, that he wants her to be his wife. He's telling Shila the same thing, that like, yo, I want to be with you. You the one for me. You the best date I ever had. So he's telling both of these ladies the same thing. Like, he cannot make his mind up. So Shila straight up, you know what I mean? I know she probably a boss. She probably a good real estate broker too, by the way. But she went in there like, yo, like, what's it going to be? Like, you're not going to be dating me and you're not going to be dating her at the same time, telling us the same thing. Like, what are you telling this lady, Hanna, to think that she's going to end up with you too? Because meanwhile, outside of the pods, when the ladies meet back, you know, they have their conversations, you know, in a ladies' room or whatever you call that room. So Hanna is getting information from Shila. They're getting information from each other, and, you know, just to use against Toga. But I appreciate how Shila stood her ground against Toga. And at the end, that did get her the engagement from Toga. Because, again, I think Toga, he's attracted to her confidence. He's attracted to her strength, but I don't think he's going to be able to handle her in the long run. But nonetheless, that was another highlight of episode 3. And obviously the highlight of episode 3 was also Shella and Alberta beefing. I hated that these two black women were beefing over, they were beefing over both Fabio and Pascal, I believe, which was horrible. And again, I don't like who Shella chooses. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but I really didn't like who Shella ended up with. And I was sad to see that Alberta wanted to leave the show, and sad to see two sisters beefing. But next, we're going to move right along to episode 3. I think I missed 2 engagements. I missed Shella, and I missed Shella being engaged with Pascal. Horrible choice for her. I really wish she would have went with Fabio. And I missed Jen and Marcel, their engagement, but they were just so like not that interesting to me. I mean, Marcel is very intense, very like self-righteous, and I don't know, he was just kind of annoying me at this point, to be honest. So anyway, fast forward episode 4, we have 5 couples and they're headed to Greece. They're actually in Greece on this episode, and none of them seem to be getting along, which is really, really sad. Like they chose each other, but by the time they get there, you know, they're beefing. So we have Toga and Shila. To me, Toga is becoming very, very uncertain about his relationship and his proposal to Shila. And Shila seems like she's uncertain too. She's trying to act like she's still with it, like she made the right choice, but you could see that her confidence is wavering. Because again, she's a very confident woman, very assertive. You could tell she's that girl, but you could tell in this episode she is so uncertain and insecure, and I hate to see her like that. We have Hanni and Daniel. They are together, and Hanni decided she wants to see how Daniel will be like if he gets jealous, because she starts kicking it with Ilias. Mind you, Ilias is the guy who she was dating in episode 1, who, you know, they were getting pretty close too. They were getting intimate, even though they were, you know, behind the pods, but she almost chose him. So this is their first time actually seeing each other. You know, Ilias sees Hanni like, oh my God, like, you know, she looks so good, you know. So their encounter was they were kind of all over each other in a way. You know, they were very, very flirtatious, talking. She had her legs crossed, talking to him. They were leaning into each other. So I don't like that Hanni was playing those type of games, and I don't like that Ilias was playing those types of games with Alina either. Like they were both playing like they were so into each other. Although I think Hanni was just playing the game, but I do think Ilias is really in to Hanni and the way that she looks. But nonetheless, we also have Shella with Pascal, a couple that I don't think is genuine. I don't see them working out, but I'd be curious to see what happens on episode 5. But I'm really rooting for my girl Shella, because I think she's ready for love, but she just needs to get some therapy, because I think she keeps sabotaging herself. And next up, we have Jen and Marcel. And again, this relationship is just, to me, I don't know how I could see him working out with anybody. He's such a serious, intense guy. I hope he finds love. But again, I think he needs to do some work on himself, do some more work. But I will say about all of these contestants that I saw, a lot of them did seem pretty self-aware, and that they did go through a few rounds of therapy. You could tell by the way they talk, the certain terms that they're using, the certain phrases that they're saying. You know, they know the trauma that they experienced as children and young adults and how that's affecting their dating life. So they do seem kind of aware, but some of them just don't seem ready for love. And you could tell that just in episode 4, like everything begins to unravel. These people really don't like each other. Like by episode 4, when they're in Greece, I don't see any of them getting along and making it. But again, I like to see how the show is rolling out. I can't wait to see what happens on episode 5. I want to see who pulls it together and who is really willing to fight for love, because you can always turn it around, you know, work with your partner. And I'm happy to see if one of these couples at least make it, you know, to the altar. But nonetheless, guys, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. This is actually my first video on this channel, guys. So I had so much fun watching Love is Blind Germany. I hope you had fun reviewing this with me. And make sure you tune in, because I do plan on doing another review for episode 4 through beyond. All right, gotta go. Check you guys later. Peace.